guys? Welcome back to the Mic Check Podcast. This is T Word, the People's Champ. Thanks for tapping in. Today we're going to go ahead and recap the Zone card that happened on April 8th, featuring Bam Rodriguez, MJ Akhmadaliev, and Raymond Ford. Before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We do appreciate your feedback. All right, man, let's go ahead and get into it. And the first fight I want to talk about is going to be Raymond Ford and Jesse Magdaleno. And this was an interesting fight. Not necessarily because the way it played out, because I felt like Ford controlled the fight from start to finish. It was his first 12-rounder. What was interesting is that he knocked down his opponent twice in this fight, and there was one judge's scorecard that had the fight 116 to 110. So he had it really close. Obviously, you get a 10-8 round for a knockdown. So really, without the knockdown, he potentially either had it 116 to 112, or it might have swung the other way. And this could have been a draw on his card, which I thought that was weird, because throughout the fight, I felt like Ford controlled everything. He controlled the action. He controlled the location of the action. He controlled the tempo of the fight. And he never was in trouble from what I could tell, even early in the fight. And I felt like he never really put the foot on the gas, even when he had Magdaleno in trouble several times. Because I think because it was his first 12-rounder, he was trying to reserve energy. But I thought that it was a dominant performance. He never looked rattled. He never looked like he was under pressure. The other two scorecards, I believe there was 119, 107 on the other two. And I thought that those were fairly accurate, because without the knockdowns, you're looking at 119 to 109. So something like that, however they worked that out. But I just felt that it was a good performance. I don't know. It was supposed to be a little bit of a step-up fight, but he made it look easy. So I think maybe it's time to step him up a little more and pick up the tempo with him and throw him in there with the Sharks and see what happens. He's definitely at contender level, so it's time for him to challenge for a world title. Next up, not necessarily on the card, but next up on my docket is going to be Marlon Akhmadaliev. He actually lost on Saturday night, and Marlon Tapales came to fight. And when the fight was first announced, I thought it was just kind of a buffer between getting Fulton and MJ in the ring to go ahead and get undisputed. But instead, it turned out to be an upset. MJ struggled throughout the fight. Now, granted, I'm giving this critique, and I need to go back and watch some more things for sure. But I had 3 screens on, okay, and I was on the live stream. So kind of every other round, I really was like locking in on what he was doing. But it seemed like even when I wasn't paying close attention, when I would look up, he was getting touched up. Now, late in the fight, MJ did make a rally, but I think the judges got it right. They rewarded his opponent for each round by round that he did. They didn't try to do an end of the fight tally and adjust some scorecards. I thought that they accurately depicted what happened in the fight, and we had a new WBA and IBF champion at 122 pounds, which you'll find out in another video, I believe opens the door for Stephen Fulton to finally get that opportunity to get undisputed in the super bantamweight weight class. Next up, to close the night, you had Bam Rodriguez on this San Antonio card, and he was in a tough-ass fight. Something that I thought might have been a little bit of an easy night, because he was coming down in weight, so he was used to hitting different. Somebody said he did a fat camp. They also said the same thing about MJ, so this might have just been talk, but he didn't come in as focused as he did. And I do know that Bam had a chip on his shoulder, because people had some bad things to say about his last fight at the end of 2022. So maybe he was putting a little unnecessary pressure on himself. Not to mention, it's a hometown fight, and it was for a vacant belt. Now, he did end up getting a dub, but it was another one of them things. I have multiple devices going on, and I'm watching the fight, and I might look away for a little bit and watch the ESPN card, and then look down, and every time I look, Bam is pursuing his opponent, but he's following him around the ring like a robot, and then he's getting tagged with the same punch over and over. So I thought that that's just a bad showing, which will take some rounds that he probably was dominating at spurts, but it makes it look closer because you're getting hit, and he ended up finishing the fight with a broken jaw. So while it was a valiant effort to become a 2-division champion and the youngest champion in boxing right now, I think that he took unnecessary damage. He showed some significant flaws in his game, and he's going to need to work on cutting off the ring and actually having a little bit of defense when he's on the move. But overall, I thought that he did what he needed to do to get the win. It was a much closer win than maybe it needed to be. And I don't know if coming down in weight changed the way his camp went. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it wasn't his best effort. And hopefully this is a habit, because that means it's 2 fights in a row where he's been less than stellar. Could be step up in competition too. That being said, we'd love to get your thoughts. This has been T Word for the Mic Check Podcast. Until the next time, I'm out. Peace.